Look at that. We got a background now. Rock on. Okay, cool. I think we're at a good spot to get started. We're already 7 minutes in. We will get you all out of here on time. So thanks again for those of you that just joined. My name is Jeremiah Taylor. I'm the Chief Real Estate Officer here at Ojo, part of the team. And this is our month. We do this every month. This is one of the first ones where we've invited all the agents on the teams. And so what we do in these webinars is we want to give you all a direct line of communication from us at Ojo on stuff that we are working on that will help you better understand, like what are customers seeing before they're getting connected to you on the phone? What are the best agents doing? When they get that live transfer, how are teams working with ISAs is a topic that you're going to hear about today. And then we'll also maybe play some calls that aren't the best. Don't worry if they were your call. We use a voice disguiser, so we don't like put you on blast. But there's some pretty common offenses that we share with your team leaders that hopefully they're cascading to you. And so since it's near the end of the year, we figured we'd let you all in on the fun and invite everyone. So I'm going to share my screen, and my goal is to be done with my part in the next 12 minutes so that I give Chris and our panel the majority of the time. Somebody tell me, can y'all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, that's great. All right, so like I said, we've got a couple of things to go over. My goal is to be done and get you into this panel in about 15 minutes. But one of the things I want to share is creating optionality for sellers. Now, many of you that are on here are buyer-only agents. Many of you are listing agents, some of your ISAs, some of your team leaders. Any way that you slice it, this is an important thing to know about in this world. Now, I've been a real estate agent for 21 years. I first got my license in 2001. That is real estate agent math because it's now 2023, and somehow I came up with 21. Apparently, it's really 22 years. This is the way that agents have always done business. Hey, list with me. I'm the best agent. I sell homes the fastest. I sell them for the most money. I have the biggest billboards. Well, through 2020 and into 2022, and now especially in 2023, there's a bunch of new options out there. There are people. Hey, by the way, we made it so y'all can unmute today. So if you're like doing something on the side, make sure you're muted. And if you unmute, make sure you have something good to say so that everybody can learn. So agents today you're dealing with all these other things out in the world. You've got iBuyers, you've got investors making cash offers, you've got buy before you sell companies, and you're going to approach these things in one of two ways. Either you're going to compete with them and you're going to tell your customers like, no, list with me, I'm the better option. Don't do them, use me. Or you're going to say, hey, I can be your conduit to all of these people. So you don't need to worry about competing with them because I can help you use any of these sources. That is what the top agents and teams are doing. That's what seller optionality is all about, is understanding the options that are in your market so that you can be the conduit to all of these different types of strategies. There's really three primary strategies that we see agents use. It's list on the market, it's fix and list, and it's some sort of cash offer. At Ojo, we are working to build resources for you all like Zoodelia, like partnerships with Homeward, iBuyers, etc., so that you have these things more at your fingertips. For today, we are counting on you all to be resourceful. And if we connect you with a client that is looking for a cash offer, call your investor network, buy the house yourself, be resourceful, we get them a cash offer. Ultimately, what we know is 9 out of 10 people won't take the cash offer. They want to just list it on the market and get top dollar. But you want to help them understand their options. Okay. Now, the reason that we're telling you about this and making a point to do it is that we are making a push. Sorry, I'm reading comments over here and got distracted. We're making a push on Movoto.com, which is where most of our traffic comes from that we introduce you to find more motivated sellers. And so these people are going to be people that a lot of times they want to buy a house, but they also have a home to sell. Maybe they're looking for a cash offer. Maybe they want to go a traditional sales route. The key is we're going to meet them on the website. We're going to talk to them. We're going to introduce them to you. And then it's your job to get face-to-face. So the Connect, Set, Learn framework, it applies to sellers just as much as it does the buyers. Your job on that first call is to just get the appointment. And getting that appointment allows you to build rapport, to get face to face, and to earn the right to kind of nurture and work with these folks.
Hey,
And
Jeremiah,
so where,
Jeremiah, can I add
yep, go ahead.
something about that?
Yeah.
When, if it's a seller who came in on a cash offer, call to action, uh, understand that these sellers are not asking to list their home. They're not asking for an agent. They're saying, hey, yeah, if I can get a cash offer, that's going to solve my problem. Now they have a variety of problems. Sometimes they have homes that they don't think are, that they can fix up, or they have a time constraint, or a condition that causes them to need to be somewhere quick or to take advantage of something. So they just need an instant offer on their home. What that means is when we're talking to those people, and my team's been using, now I'll give you our own experience. We've been using these type of leads since 2019. So when we get one of these leads, which we do almost daily, our approach is simply to say, hey, understand that you're looking for a cash offer on your property. Great. When can we schedule time to come over and take a look at the home to be able to provide you with that? We don't talk to them about our agency. We don't talk to them about listing their home. We don't do any of that because they don't want that. Right now, when we get there, we show them their options. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, here's what a cash offer would look like on your home. And by the way, what was it about getting a cash offer that interested you? And then we find out, why they think the cash offer was the best way for them to go. And occasionally it is. And if that happens, great. Everyone's happy. Most of the time, it's not the best way for them to go. And when we show them what a full value listing would look like, or a market value property, many times that's the route they go that Jeremiah talked about earlier. But the main point I wanted to make is how you handle that initial conversation is very important. If you get into a conversation and try to do what you normally do with someone who was calling you about potentially selling their home and qualifying them and asking them questions and all that stuff, you'll lose them. You just got to get in front of them and then be able to present the options to them. And we can talk more about that or answer any other questions you have, but Jeremiah, I'll let you keep going.
Cool. All right, I'm back at it. So where do these people come from? Excuse me. They come. So sometimes they're looking at a property that has been listed for sale. They fill out a buyer lead form, and then we say, hey, do you want a cash offer? Do you own a home? Yes. Oh, cool. Do you want a cash offer on that home? Yes. We have landing pages dedicated to cash offers. We have cash offer CTAs in our home value reports that we send out to customers from within the homeowner tool. So there's multiple places they could come from. And really, like Chris said, you're going to see kind of 4 buckets of these people. And so you're curious Carols. They're people that they're just curious, like, oh, wow, somebody will pay cash for my house. Wonder what they'll pay. Those are going to take some nurturing. You're going to have your fix up Felix. These are your distressed properties, not your distressed sellers. They need some repairs. The fix and list programs are great for them. Cash Plus is great for them. Your hurry up Harrys, those are distressed sellers, not distressed properties. So those are people that they're in a financial situation for some reason they want to sell quickly, but the house is in good shape. And then your traditional crises. These are 90% of the people. They're going to look at these options. They're going to say, yeah, I don't want to pay the fees. I don't want to give a big discount to an investor. Just help me put it on the market. Help me sell my home. And like every other type of lead, the gold is in the follow-up on these. And so to help you understand, they're going to request a cash offer. They'll go through the same phone calling and vetting. They'll get introduced to you. Some will be live, some will be non-live, and we will still do the concierge activities on the back end. The way you'll know it's a cash offer is when the lead comes in. Thanks, Chris, for clarifying. CTA equals call to action. When the lead comes in, it will say cash offer at the top, lead type, seller, cash offer. Under their name, it'll say cash offer. So you see, we put it several places so you know. And Bobby's asking a great question. Ojo is not buying houses. I'm going to say this again. Ojo is not buying houses. We are generating leads of people who want to sell their home. And the call to action for that person is get a cash offer on your home. Okay. This is just a lead generation. It's no different than what I did 15 years ago saying, hey, if I don't sell your house in 5 days, I'll buy it. It's a cash offer. It's a guaranteed sale. It's a marketing CTA, call to action, that gets somebody to fill out a form. Now, what we're looking for you to do as the agent is to say, great, hey, I'm right here in your market. I can get you a cash offer. When can I come over and see the house so that I can get you that cash offer? And then we're expecting you all to either work with iBuyers or your network of investors so that you can then present them a cash offer. You'll get paid the same way that you normally get paid, by representing the buyer, the seller, et cetera, and charging a commission that you would negotiate with them. However much you negotiate, Ojo gets paid the same way. Now, if you want to be the person that buys the house, that's great. We'll just calculate the commission based on 2.5% of the sales price and our normal referral fee. You go buy the house. That's totally cool. If you want to sell the house to Opendoor, totally cool. This is where you just want to have some resources. We just want to give you a heads up. We're currently generating a couple thousand of these nationally, which at any one given market, it's not going to feel like a lot, but we are going to be growing this. So just know that if you get one of these, hopefully now you know a little bit more about what to do with it. Now, coming soon for the team leaders, this got delayed a little bit. We originally had this slated for mid-November. It's now probably going to be another week or two out. They'll be able to route these leads to certain people on the team and pick the mix of these leads. So we'll train you more on that. Your success managers will have more info on that. But that lead routing is coming soon. And so here, I'm going to play a call for you of one of these cash offer seller calls so that you hear what the consumer is going through before they get to you.
Oh, yes, this is
So somebody give
Kwanzaa
us
from
thumbs up. Can
Movoto
you
on a
hear that?
recorded line. And the reason for the call today is you are on our
No?
website and
Yeah.
fill out a form saying you were interested in the cash offer on your property. Does that ring a bell?
Yes.
Great. I can get you connected to someone right now to discuss a cash offer. I just need to verify I have the correct email for you. Have your email listed as kishmajoseph@gmail.com. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Great. And by the way, are you also buying or planning on buying a home by chance?
No.
Got it. Okay. And is your house currently listed with an agent today?
No, it's not.
Okay. So all I need to do now is just send a text to get you connected to someone. Once they respond, I'll connect you over a three-way call. They're very quick, so it should only take a second. Do I have your okay to send them the text?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Perfect. Just 1 second. Okay, great. That text was just sent. And how would you like to be introduced? I see you entered your name as Kishma. Is that right?
Yes.
The person I will connect you with should be extremely responsive, very experienced, and will know the area well. They'll be able to come out to your house and walk you through all your options in selling your home. I think you're going to be really impressed with them.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, and they should reply any second now. I'll mute myself real quick and let you know when they reply, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, so just
All right, we'll pause there. And I'm going to stop sharing. Thoughts, questions, feedback. Not all at once. I see everybody's turning on their AI assistants to take notes. Okay, nice to hear what they're saying. Pretty straightforward. Very smooth, low pressure, getting questions answered. That's right. Pretty straightforward. Now, here's the key is after we make that pretty straightforward introduction, we're going to bring you onto the phone. This is where like we listen to these calls every single day. And like seriously, I want to bring all of you like to Ojo and have you just sit and listen to calls with us because it's painful sometimes. Like the number one sin that I hear on these calls is, oh, hang on, sorry, I'm switching over to Bluetooth. Oh, hang on, someone just cut me off. Give me just a second, sorry, right? And it's like, oh, I just got in the car and I connected to my car. It's like, gang, these are outbound prospecting calls we just made to this person, and then you're treating it like an inbound call. Like, yeah, hey, what's going on? How do I help you? Sorry, I'm driving. I'm in the McDonald's drive-through. Like, just to set yourself up for success. And remember that these are outbound calls. That's number one. Number two is you hear what we're doing, which is we're saying, hey, we're going to get you somebody on the phone. They'll come over, they'll get you a cash offer on the property. Or, hey, we're going to get somebody on the phone, they'll go show you that property. And we're making it quick, we're making it smooth, we're making it simple, low friction. Your job is to just keep that baton rolling. Is so when you come through and you get on the call, it's, hey, that's great. I'm here. Would love to go show you that property. When's a good time to see it? Or, yeah, I'm here. Understand you're looking to sell your home for cash. When can I come see it and help you get an offer? Super low friction. What you don't want to do is say, okay, great. Well, I just have a couple questions before I come over. How many square feet did you say the house is? How many bedrooms and bathrooms does it have? Does it have linoleum or concrete? Like, and start filling out a listing profile sheet. It's just not going to work well for you. It's going to create a bunch of friction for them. And I'm telling you all this because we hear this on these calls.
Jeremiah, I want to, you said something and I want to make sure everyone heard it. And the thing that you said was outbound call. So would any of us call a consumer and then, in the first few seconds say, oh, hold on a second, my Bluetooth is switching over, or, hold on a second, I'm placing my order for my Starbucks, right? No, you would never do that, right? Completely unprofessional, and people would just hang up on you. These consumers that we're connecting you to, you need to think of them as you making an outbound call, because you're just doing it through us. See, they didn't call in and say, hey, I want to talk to you, or I want to talk to an agent. We called them. They filled out a lead form. We called them. They necessarily didn't know they were going to get a call. They might not have been expecting a call. They may not have been thinking they were going to get one within 60 seconds or 30 seconds, but that happened. We called them, and we may have got them in the middle of something, and maybe not the ideal time, but we're on the phone with them. We ask them if they'd like to be connected to a professional, and they say yes, and we bring you on the phone. It's the same as you calling them, not as them calling in. And that's a little difference, but it makes a big difference in how we speak to them and how we approach the call, right? We wouldn't call someone and immediately start interrogating them. They'd be like, who are you and why are you asking me all these questions? They'd hang up on you. That's the dynamic. Now, when they're calling us, or when we're calling them, it's in response to them wanting to see a home, or in this specific example that Jeremiah is giving, they were interested in getting a cash offer on their home. And the last thing that Jeremiah says, the most important thing, make it as frictionless as possible. You'll have all the opportunities in the world to build trust, to build rapport, to qualify them when you're face-to-face. But being face-to-face is the key to success.
That's right. Spot on. Okay, cool. I got a couple more things that I'm going to take you through, and then I want to kick it over to our panel. So I'm actually going to speed through some of this. Just so you all know, when we're listening to these calls, this is what we are listening for on the call. Was there an enthusiastic opening? Could you hear the smile on their face? Did they mirror and match pace and tonality? Did they build rapport? Really, were you listening to what the person was telling you and responding? Did you set an appointment? Did you talk about the location in the area? Did you learn about their motivation? And was there a strong closing with next steps and its concrete timing? Top scores of 35. This is how we're grading the calls. We would encourage you to use this same scorecard to review your game film, to grade your own calls. I've listened to my own calls. I take these calls just so that I can practice and see what it's like on your end. I never have given myself a 35. It's hard. You're trying to figure it out. We get it. The key is just work on improving, always trying to get better. Okay. I'm going to skip that call recording. For those of you that use ISAs, what I would just encourage you to remember, if you're going to use ISAs on your team, is that this person just talked to somebody that is kind of the equivalent of an ISA, and they think they're getting passed over to somebody that's going to be able to help them and set an appointment and do that. So just know that this is not like your traditional ISA where the lead came in and they're taking a Rob. Most of the time, they're going to be taking a warm handoff from our consumer engagement rep to your ISA, but they basically do the same job. So if you have ISAs on your team and you don't have your team configured to use your ISAs and you want to, cool. Talk to your success manager. They'll help you set it up. If you have more questions about ISAs, best practices, etc., both of our panelists today use some modified format or different versions of ISA teams. They'll talk a little bit about it. And so I'll let them kind of talk about it. Chris just talked about best practices for when you get a call versus making a call. We talked some do's and don'ts. We talked connect, set, learn, snooze. This one's really important over the holidays. If you're going to be busy and you can't take leads, don't just remember to snooze. It makes your life easier. Then we won't bug you. It gives us a signal to get it to other agents on your team. So please remember to use the snooze. I'm going to look at the leaderboard. I'm going to look at the chat really quick.
Yeah, and Jared, for everyone, it went by so fast. Rachel asked a question, but yes, Jeremiah is going through this quickly because we started 7 minutes late and we're committed to get you out on time. Everyone will get a copy of this recording, so you'll be able to see all the slides and you can stop it and look at the different slides and everything you want. So everyone will get a copy.
Yeah. Sorry, Rachel. I know I'm moving super fast. Cool. Yeah. So, Mike, the answer is that's up to your team lead. Can you be removed from Pro Plus for not reaching the dashboard ratings? Your team leader is, they're paying a monthly fee, and it's up to them who those leads go to. So let's look at our leaderboard, and then we'll get into our panel. Big shout out to Mr. Lamacchia and the Lamacchia Realty Relocation Department. They are at the top of the leaderboard with 11 in contract and closed, followed by Stephen Cooley's team in the Carolinas with 10, the Dukanskis all the way down. Jeremy, I see you guys are on here with 8 in contract. That's great. Y'all are crushing it. Alex is on here with 8. That's great. And then showing homes rate, we have, if you just look at these numbers, these 30, 40, 60% showing homes rates, these people in a few months will be the people at the top of the leaderboard because this is a follow-up game. The people that are going in contract now, they're the motivated, they're in a hurry. There's a lot of these people that as rates come down and we get through the holidays, they're going to be ready to rock and roll. We've got a big spring ahead of us. These people here are building a massive pipeline for coming into the new year. So congratulations to you all for doing this. We still send these out every month. So you'll get access to that. Chris, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, one thing that we'll start doing soon, Jeremiah, we haven't talked about this yet, but we'll probably be adding one more category to the leaderboard, and that's conversion rate, right? Where some of us have been in this long enough and where we're able to start tracking conversion rates. And so as we get a little farther down or into the new year, watch for that, because then we'll be able to see who's converting, who's most effective at converting, who's most effective at being on these webinars, listening to the tips and then implementing them.
That's right. Tony asked a really important question about cash offer seller leads. Can you opt out? The answer will be yes. Will they be counted towards your normal quota? The answer is yes. And what we will give you is like a little slider that you're like, yeah, hey, I'll take 5% of my leads as cash offer leads. Or maybe you're like me and you like buying houses. I'll take 100% as cash offer leads. And so the team leader will be able to configure those things. You can configure it by agent as well as to who they go to. So I think that is the end of my part. Jenna, do you want to pin Chris, Jeremy, Misty, and myself? And then you can unpin me in a minute. But every month we do these. We do these and then we bring on a panel. Jeremy and Misty run 2 of the top teams in the country. They're having a ton of success with Pro Plus. Given time, I'm not going to read like the long introductions that we wrote for you guys. I'm just going to say, trust us when we say that these 2 are rock stars. And so I'm going to hand it off to Mr. Heller so you don't have to hear me cough anymore. But both of you, thank you very much for spending time with us and joining us today.
All right. Thanks, Jeremiah. And thanks for toughing it out when you're under the weather. So, hey, Misty and Jeremy, first of all, thank you for taking the time to do this and being put on the spot. And I'm sorry I didn't wear a bright blue shirt to coordinate with you all. And Misty, by the way, I was watching all the squares and you win the prize for the best background and the most festive background on the Zoom call.
That is an awesome prize to win.
Yeah. So Misty is in Des Moines, Iowa has a top team selling 400 or 500 homes a year. Jeremy is the founder or co-founder of the Chucktown team. You might have seen that name on the leaderboard. You guys are gonna do like sell like 1,000 homes this year, Jeremy?
We hope to. We're getting close.
All right, you got what, 31 days or so left?
Yeah, that's right.
All right, we'll check it.
The
We'll
home
check.
stretch.
All right. So again, thank you both. So let's talk about I want to ask you a question on the topic we've been talking about, and that's cash offer leads. Have either of you been generating, working, or doing cash offers even before we brought this up and brought this to the Pro Plus network?
Yes.
And
Yes.
and how does that work? And is there anything you heard us say today that you have a different twist on, or how do you, when you have a consumer that inquires about a cash offer, either because of something you're putting out there marketing wise, or other referrals you get, how do you guys handle them? And is it any different than what we've suggested?
I don't think it's terribly different than what you suggested. I really appreciated that intro conversation that the Ojo Plus representative had. I mean, it was just so calm and confirming. And I think what you said about like not making it too difficult, too many hoops for the person to jump through is that important to start with. It's getting in front of them and getting them comfortable. And then you could really, when you're in front of them, really talk through what those different options are.
Yeah, love it. Jeremy, how about you guys and your teams?
Yeah, Chris, we don't have a cash offer program now, so I think that's why I'm excited about Ojo's, because you guys are partnering with some big portals for that. But then we also have some investors in each one of our locations that I think are going to be very excited about this opportunity.
Yeah, it is. And look, from a consumer standpoint, I buy and sell a lot of real estate. I've sold to Opendoor. I've sold a home to Zillow because they were rental properties and gain a cash offer and allowed me to get out and then buy the property I wanted to buy on my 1031. Was the ideal thing for me as a consumer. So for some consumers, this is a great approach and what they need. Let's talk about the Misty, you correct me if I'm wrong. You guys are use an ISA model on your team, correct?
We do. Yes.
Okay. And those ISAs, when they get a call, like an Ojo call, where we're connecting them a live transfer to a consumer, what's their approach? Because at that point, the consumer doesn't know what an ISA is or the difference between an ISA or an agent. So walk us through, for someone who maybe doesn't have an ISA team, or even if they do, they want to hear how your team handles those.
Well, it's really important that you think about what it's like from that consumer's point of view. You don't think internally within our team, this person's doing this and this person's doing that. You are a team. You are a real estate representative to that consumer. So it's very important that our ISAs have access to our agent schedule. And so when they're having that conversation of when they want this to occur and just building a rapport, then they give them what they've requested. Our agent's going to meet you here at this time. Here's the person that you're going to be meeting with. We're excited to meet you.
Perfect. And simple, right? I think we have a tendency to overcomplicate things and overcomplicate processes. Jeremy, on your team, when leads come in, live transfer or any lead of that sort, does it go directly to an agent?
It does, whether it's an email lead or a phone call connection lead, they go straight to the agents who claim them based on availability, who's ready to take it. And to Jeremiah's point, not in the car. If they're in the car, we tell them not to use their turn signals, so the buyer doesn't hear the clicking. But no, it goes straight to our agent. Our agent takes it and rolls with it, because we don't love the handoff. We know they already got handed off once. We want to go ahead and take it from there. We do use an ISA type program, but it's for the long-term nurtures. If the agent knows that the buyer's not going to buy or sell within the next 6 months, or if they get ghosted. I saw somebody in the comments say something about the buyer ghosting the agent, then we'll have admin step in to do some of the heavy lifting to try to get a response from a different phone number, different email address. So that's how we use the ISAs.
And on those initial calls, whether it's, or they get an email, what's the primary training and messaging you're telling your agents, like on, hey, here's the important things you need to do on that initial call, or here's the way you need to handle that?
Yeah, in our minds, what we talk about with our teams is there are 2 different types of leads. One lead that's a bottom of the funnel, ready to go look at properties. They're going to be the phone call connections like you guys have. And we're going straight for the appointment, not finding any excuse not to show them the house, not talking too much about the house over the phone, still building rapport, find out a little bit about motivation, location, but really going straight for the appointment, setting that up, and then, trying to add a couple other properties to see on there. It's really tough to build that rapport in just one location, one house. And then we've got the other, more top of the funnel lead sources that, they're not going to buy anytime soon. And if you go straight for an appointment with them, they're going to hang up the phone on you. So those are more of a laid back, nice guy approach, trying to answer their questions and help them with the process. So.
All right, perfect. So let me shift gears a little bit. Here we are in November 30th, the end of the year. No one can ever believe how fast time flies. We know that a lot of agents check out mentally and physically at this time of the year. What are you telling your teams, and what's the message? Whoever wants to go first.
I'll go. So for my team, we decided as we got into November, instead of checking out, we were really going to differentiate ourselves by leveling up. So we've doubled down on, actually quadrupled down. We have been doing daily trainings. We have been spending a lot of time listening to calls together as a team and critiquing. We've been looking at making sure we're all really refreshed on valuation skills and going, we need to get in front of people. We need to connect with people, both specifically for real estate, but also just to build rapport, just to make connections with people. For instance, yesterday we had a call blitz that was a follow-up we did a pumpkin pie event last week before Thanksgiving. We gave out 1,000 pumpkin pies. We made collaboratively as a team 115 connections, actual conversations with people who had attended the event in a 30-minute period. We got 3 appointments out of that, and we were just asking them if they picked up their pumpkin pie.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I love the fact that you are, when, like you said, when most agents are starting to coast or check out, that you're actually, doubling down or quadrupling down and doing more. Jeremy, how about your team? I'm sure you've told them all that, hey, you've done a great job this year. We'll see you in January.
Yeah, we give them November and December off. No, they, similar to Misty, this is really the only time of the year that you can get additional training and, like Misty said, leveling up, because you're not doing it March through August. It's just too busy. Nobody's able to, attend those trainings. They're running around with their hair on fire. So that's what we spend this next couple of months doing. Although we do hope that the agents take time for themselves and their family. This is a great time of the year to be able to take some time off, but not 2 months. Take your time off, but when you're here, be present, time block, prospect, and build your pipeline, because really come January 5th, it's going to start getting busy again.
Yeah, and there's no better way to start the year with momentum than to end the year with momentum.
That's right.
As we talk about, Jeremiah talked about, and I chimed in a little bit about the calls that we listen to, and Misty, I heard you say that you guys are listening to calls as a group, and I know my team does that, and I don't know that there's any better way to train and improve and get better than to either be recording yourself on presentations or while you're prospecting or doing your lead follow-up or on these calls. As you guys, and so Jeremy, do you guys do any like live call training?
We do. So, you know, when our CEOs are doing their one-on-ones, they'll pull up phone calls, recorded phone calls and coach. We do it during meetings. We also have one employee, and God bless her, she listens to every single recorded call that comes in through a phone call connection, no matter what. We've got 3 different sources that we get live phone call connections. She listens to every single one and grades them, and then you know, puts some coaching notes in there, sends it out to the leaders in the organization to share with their agents. So I think she's at 5,000 calls this year that she's listened to. That's what she does all day and night. So we believe very strongly in that.
I hope she gets a great Christmas bonus.
That's right.
I have listened to many of the calls and many of your calls, people on this Zoom, and some of them are good. A lot of them are painful.
Yeah.
God bless her. What are some of the things that when you hear these calls, you know, that you go, oh my gosh, you know, here's an opportunity to improve, or here's something we need to change? Anything popped into mind for either of you?
Yeah, first for me is your tone. I think that it's so important to listen to calls as an agent, because so often what we think in our heads we sound like, we actually don't sound like when it goes to the other side. So that tone of being warm and caring is very critical.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for us, it's you know, not jumping on your computer, not clicking around, seeing if the house is available or under contract. Set the appointment, find out more about what they're looking for and what their motivation is. You know, schedule it, get off the call. If it's not available, find a couple more that you can call them back and say, hey, I got great news. That one's not available, but I've got another one for us. So we even gone as far as, you know, sometimes when the inventory is very tough, you know, just go ahead and set the appointment to meet them at the Starbucks or at a model home, to where you know you're not gonna have to cancel, and meet them there. And then you can even tell them there that first one's not available, but you've got 2 more great backups for them.
Yeah, which is so important. Again, when someone calls your office and says, hey, I have some questions, or I need some help, or I want to see this property, it's normal to say, great, who am I talking to? How can I help you? You know, how long have you been looking? All those things. When we're calling someone, again, that's not the time to interrogate them or to ask a lot of questions. It's the time to help them get what they wanted, which was a question answered on the home, or go see the home, or as we talked about today, gain an offer on their home.
Yeah, and Jeremiah talked about it earlier with the listings. Like, it's the same thing with those listing calls. Like, don't ask them about hardwood floors and granite countertops and all that. Just get in the house, get in the door, schedule that appointment, and, you know, build some rapport. But you know, don't focus on the house or the you know, what they're looking for.
Yeah.
About the house and the features, you know, I'm talking about.
Yeah. Go ahead, Misty.
I was just gonna say, I think that's where, Chris, the training that you've done for Ojo has been so critical, because it really puts that perspective into place, because I don't know how the agents would make that connection otherwise, but really hitting that home and helping people see that consumer experience. But this is so opposite of, you know, 10, 15 years ago, how a lot of us who have been in the business a long time were trained, and how we trained people then. And so it's really like this huge mindset shift, but it makes total sense. And so I appreciate the resources that you've given, because it really has helped us hone our approach.
It's great. Yeah. And you're right. It has changed a lot, right? It is a complete 180 in the approach, and it's a good reminder that just because we've done something a certain way for a certain amount of time doesn't mean it's the best way or even the right way anymore. And
Right. Things change in real estate all the time.
Consumer behavior changes. And so does agent behavior. What are some of the things that you guys are like emphasizing right now, you know, with your teams, whether it's, you know, with a a referral or a lead from Ojo or just any part of their business?
For us, it's conversations, Chris. When we looked at our numbers for 2023, we were converting 20% of our appointments met to submitting offers. I'm sorry, 40%. 40% of our appointments met, we were submitting offers on, and this year it is cut in half to 20%. You know, there's lots of different reasons for that, but basically what that means is you got to make twice as many calls. You got to do twice as much work to close just as many deals. So it's all about conversations, time blocking your calls, you know, making sure you're spending that time dialing the phone and getting people on the phone and you know, setting those appointments.
Yes, please.
Good. And Misty, how about you? Any main theme right now that you're emphasizing with your team, or, you know, quadrupling down on?
Yeah, so the gold is in the follow-up, and don't expect follow-up to always include a lot of feedback from the other side. That doesn't mean there's anything wrong. That's the way consumers behave. And so don't give up just because they haven't replied to you after, you know, 3 calls, 3 texts, or whatever. You need to keep going, and because you being top of mind when they are ready is the way that you need to approach it. The other thing is, you know, hey, we all know the interest rates are higher than they were a year and a half ago. Like, it's well established. When people talk about that being a reason to not be in the market, don't like sympathize. Oh yeah, you're right. They're so much higher. You say, you know what? A lot of people are surprised at having very affordable payment options and being able to get the home they want right now. Why don't we check it out?
Yeah, great perspective. You just made me think of another question, Misty, and for both you guys. The thing that I see time and time again where agents miss opportunities in their follow-up, either because they don't do enough of it, they don't do it for long enough, or they aren't effective when they do it. And by not being effective, I mean they're, you know, it's, hey Misty, just checking in, you know, hey Jeremy, want to see if, you know, anything's changed in your situation. What do you guys train your teams on when it comes to follow-up?
So I think it's important to add value when you're following up. Hey, I had something, I saw a great property I want to share with you. Give me a call. Hey, I just found out about this new program. Give me a call and we'll talk about it when you have time. You know, something to that effect. Like, don't just be like, I'm just here waiting for you to buy. Like,
Yeah.
give them value.
Yeah, offer value. Because if we don't, you know, we aren't delivering. If we don't deliver value, then we aren't valuable to them.
Right.
Great point.
Yeah, and a lot of CRMs these days, and I'm sure a lot of people on this call have CRMs where you can see what they're clicking on, what they're looking at. You have them set up on IDX searches, you know what they're looking at. You don't have to call them and say, hey, I saw you just looked at 123 Main Street. You know, just call them and say, hey, I saw a few houses that you know I think would fit you perfectly. One of them is 123 Main Street. Check it out. Let's go take a look at it. You know, use what they're doing to help your case.
Yeah. And then what about for both of you, what about in terms of when do you stop following up? What do you tell your teams?
When they tell you to leave you alone forever, but like when they say, I dislike you and I never want to see you again, and then we'll start back up a few months later because they don't remember us.
So forever.
Yeah, very, you know, if they tell them to go away and stop communicating with all the crazy laws these days on TCPA and all that mess, you know, we tell them they can trash them. But to Misty's point, you know, like, we continue to follow up Our goal is to find out their time frame, their realistic time frame. Are they looking in 6 months or less? If they are, the agent's going to keep them, stay on top of them, whether it's every day, every couple of days, every week. If they know for a fact that the buyer or seller is not going to do anything in the next 6 months, then we'll put them on automation with our ISAs. They'll still be getting home searches. They'll still be getting newsletters. They'll be getting monthly or bi-monthly texts and emails from the admin team that support the agent. They say like, hey, Andrew wanted us to follow up with you, see how things are going. How can we help? Different pre-written text messages that the ISAs are sending out just to stay top of mind. But we know at that point that they're not looking in the next 6 months at least.
Got it. Got it.
And to what you,
Oh, go ahead, Misty.
I was just going to say, I really key piece too is why would they remember you? It's so easy to ignore. If someone made an inquiry in one place, they did in 3 or 4 places, chances are, right? And so there's likely more than one agent in some form or another that's following up with them. And so sometimes our agents take it so personally when they're not getting a reply, but you're one of them, hundreds of people, right? Even after that very first call, that's something we talk about when we listen to the recordings. Why would they remember you from that? Because it's very easy to ghost you. It's very easy to ignore you, not show up, whatever, if they don't think of you as a real person. You need to have something memorable in your conversation so that they feel invested and they want to communicate with you.
Yeah, and it's like when they're ready. I get calls all the time for football tickets to a certain college team that I like, and I never call the guy back. I never respond to him until I'm ready to go to a game, right? And so he could say, "Oh, that guy ghosted me," but he's persistent and keeps calling, and then when I'm ready, who do I call? That's the guy I call.
Yeah, let me jump in on follow-up. This is like a topic of particular passion for me. Really good follow-up is actually follow through. And when agents get lost in follow-up, it's because they didn't appropriately set expectations on what they should follow through on. So when I'm an agent, right, every time I close a call, which if you go back to our scorecard, it was, did they set clear expectations on the next step? So, let's say I call Misty, right? And Misty says, Jeremiah, yeah, we're not doing anything. It's going to be probably summer before we do anything. I'm going to say, well, that's great, Misty. I know, summer's only 6 months away. I'll still be doing real estate. I also know sometimes things change. So why don't I follow up with you in 3 months? That puts us about February. I'll just give you a buzz in February and see how it goes. And Misty will go, that's great. That's fine. February feels like a lifetime away. Well, then I'm going to keep good notes in my CRM and I'm going to call Misty, and I'm not going to call and say, hey, I'm just checking in. I'm going to say, hey, Misty, I told you I'd call you in February because you said you were moving in summer. And so I'm calling because I also know things change. I want to see if your plan is still to move in the summer. And just that little tiny piece of writing down what you said and doing and reminding the consumer that you are doing what you said you would do can become indistinguishable from magic on their side. And so really good follow-up is follow through. Follow through comes from setting expectations on the next step on the last call. So that's just a little rubric for you to use in your follow-up.
Yeah, I'll even add something to that. We train our team to end every conversation with a simple phrase. And the simple phrase is, here's what's going to happen next. Here's what's going to happen next. So we got 5 minutes left. If anyone has questions, anyone in the group has questions for Jeremy or Misty, you can put it in the Q&A or in the chat while we're waiting for any of those questions to come in. When the we are going to get to the end of the year and we're going to get into the new year. What have you guys done with your teams in terms of goal setting? Like, is it on an individual basis with each team member, and is it based on, how do you do that?
Yeah, we actually just had our leadership meeting where all the CEOs and leadership team met and kind of went over our company goals. And we just handed out the agent goal workbooks that Each CEO will sit one-on-one with their team members and kind of look at review of 2023, where they want to be in 2024. And we drill it down to like how many conversations per closing it's going to take to get there. And we use a system called Sisu, who I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with, and we track everything and analyze everything just so they have a real number to shoot for. And then they don't have to worry about, that person just told me no. If they just stick to the numbers and stick to the real estate math, they'll get to their closing goal.
Great. Missy, anything to add?
Yeah. I think it's really important for a team to have a collaborative goal, but ultimately a team volume, team number of transactions, like it can, as your team gets larger, it can be so massive that a new agent coming onto the team, they're like, I'm just hoping I make it, right? And that just becomes intimidating. And so for our individual agents, we have them first establish their income goal kind of in 3 different levels. And then we break down, okay, based on our averages for the team, this is how many transactions you'll need to do, or you'll need to expect to do in order to meet these different levels. The great thing about that, a lot of times the agents are like, wow, that's actually way more attainable than I thought it was. We will look at what their history has been and what we see as their potential as well. And we'll be like, hey, I know that this was what you had as your goal. I think you're underselling yourself. Could we talk about doing this? So it has to be their goal, but we can talk them up as well.
Yeah, help them stretch and grow.
Right.
All right. This has been awesome. Thanks, Misty, Jeremy. If anyone has any referrals in Iowa, I almost said Idaho, sorry, in Iowa, Misty, and then pretty much anywhere in South Carolina, Jeremy's team covers that. We're going to do this one more time before the end of the year. We're not checking out physically or mentally. On December 15th will be our next webinar, so put that in your calendar. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to be here. And again, Jeremy and Misty, appreciate you guys.
Thanks for having us,
Thank you
guys.
so much.
All right, thank you.